All right, we've got more calls this morning for our guests. They're Mario Martinez. He is a salesperson with a contributor. Nice to have you on, sir. And Kathy Jennings, executive director, correct, of the contributor on. And talking not only about just the paper, but also how there was an ordinance that had been proposed. It's not going to happen now, but who knows, it could come up again, that potentially could ban the selling of public right-of-ways, sidewalks, things like this to drivers and their vehicles. And that could have affected the I guess, contributor along with other street vendors, but you know, you self-regulate, as they've said, if you've been watching the show, and there are other laws already on the books on staying out of traffic. So we'll see where that goes, but you know, the city keeps growing and the congestion, and at some point will there have to be limits? We'll see. Let's take some more calls. We've got Paul up next. Paul, good morning. Hi, Paul.
Hey, good morning, my friend Nick, and good morning to your guests there. First thing I'd just like to say, Nick, is I commend your two guests there for what they do every day. They contribute to the economy, they work, and they build themselves up. And I commend that. You had Representative Glover on about a month ago, Nick, as you know, and I called in, and me and him had a little back and forth going on there. I 100% disagreed with his proposal, and of course you knew that. And I believe that there is a Representative Glover is leading kind of a political fight against people. I'm gonna put panhandlers in there too, along with people that sell contributors, that they're using this under the cover of public safety. First of all, Nick, I am absolutely 100% for public safety. Public safety is number one, but I don't believe that's what it's about. I believe that Representative Glover and some of his political allies are looking at this as people that do this on our street vendors, selling on the street vendors and panhandling. They're just an eyesore to some of these people. They are, Nick, and I think that's terrible. That's my opinion now, but I think it's terrible. I think, you know, people get down on their luck, and they have to do things to get by in life, and he was trying to say that this is an epidemic, an epidemic in Nashville. People are getting hurt all the time. Nick, that's not the case. That's absolutely not the case. And he didn't like when you brought up about the contributor, and I brought up about the contributor. Now, what I believe is why he failed in trying to pass this is the contributor is the number one reason why he failed. But I believe that they're looking for one incident, major or minor, for a person that's suing the contributor, something to happen for them to bring this back up again.
Paul, hang on that. We have a lot of calls, so I want to, and he always brings up a good point. I think there's something with what he said there at the end. I think it's crucially important, obviously, that you guys continue to police and have these, and make sure the contributors like Mario abide by your guidelines, because the truth is, if one of the contributors gets hit and seriously injured or killed, this is coming back up again.
No, I'm sure.
And no one wants that to happen, and you least of all want that to happen. But that's why it's so crucial. I mean, meaning if they get hit and killed, not abiding by your guidelines.
Well, and I think that is why we do consistently have this code of conduct that I talked about. And we do ask, you know, the public to please call us in.
Yeah, and that's all you can do. And at this point, as you said, there have been some panhandlers that have been hurt and injured, but not contributors.
You know, we have people on scooters hurt all the time.
That's right.
We have jaywalkers hurt all the time. You know, we have people. You know, if you disobey the law and you know, you step out into traffic, you can get hurt. And so we're we have this code of conduct, we have these meetings. And
you ask the public to report, and if you see someone selling and being in a danger zone.
Yeah, and there are laws, and if there need to be, you know, more laws like, hey, no selling on the median, I mean, we would support those, because we already do it.
All right, let's go next to Marianne. Hi, Marianne. Hello, Marianne.
Hello.
Hi, go ahead.
Hi, my name is Marianne Bullen. I am 73 years old. And I was down on my luck, and I asked questions about the contributor, and I went and told the contributor, and this is my only income that I have to keep me from getting homeless again. I was homeless for 5 years, and it is not 5 years, and it is not a good feeling for someone to be homeless.
I understand, and I'm sorry we didn't have a great connection there, but I think she was, I don't know if she's a contributor salesperson. You know her?
I know her very well.
Okay, so if you can, I had a little bit trouble understanding everything she said because of the connection, but so she's a contributor salesperson.
She is 74 years old.
And it changed her life because she was talking about how it's not fun to be homeless, and we know that.
Marianne is such a good person.
Okay.
She is, you know, she goes to church, she believes in God, she helps other people almost to a fault, and her only source of income is her contributor sales.
So she's out there selling at 74.
At 74. I have seen Marianne out there with a sheet of ice on her selling.
My goodness.
Okay, so she sells in her neighborhood. You know, she's safe. Everyone knows her, I think, in her neighborhood and watches out for her also. But yeah, she does not get Social Security income. If she could not sell to vehicles and things, I don't know what Marianne would do.
Marianne, thank you for your call this morning.
We love you, Marianne.
Appreciate her calling in. Let's go to Cindy. Hi, Cindy.
Yes.
Hi, Cindy.
Good morning.
Good morning. Go ahead, ma'am.
Yes, I just wanted to share that I fully support the women and men who sell the contributor, and must add that I'm very impressed with how cautious and how observant they are when they're selling their papers on the roadside. I also want to add that the impact which the sale of the paper has had on the lives of these individuals who go out every day in the heat, in the rain, when it's sleeting, and sell this paper, it's helping to break the cycle of poverty. Yes. I'm very familiar with Mario's story because he sells the paper on my end of town. And because of the contributor, as he's noted before in interviews, he was able to purchase a small, modest home a few years ago, outside of Davidson County, of course, because of the expenses here, but drives into Davidson County, sells the paper, and then he was also able to start this small lawn care business. He's mowed the lawn for our church and for other friends as well, but he still relies on the paper, particularly during the winter months when the lawn care business is down. So he serves as an example of the impact this paper has on the lives of so many. And also, I'm so very proud of our leadership at the contributor paper, because Nashville really has set an example for how cities around the world need to train the vendors with an attention, a lot of focus on safety.
Okay, and she makes great points on all of that. And again, I don't want to get away from this. I think most people agree that the whole concept behind the contributor is a good one. And there's nothing wrong with talking about the contributor and the lives it's changed. But the reason we were here originally was because of the ordinance and the concern that maybe some limits that would be put in place that would prohibit some of the sales in certain areas. I wanted to ask you, I've always wondered about this, Mario. You have a really, I think, great location there on Lebanon Road when you come out of the Kohl's and the Target, and there's that little wedge in there, and a lot of traffic comes by there. How does it work? Do you get assigned a place, or are the contributor salespeople, you find a spot and you go there? Because I'm just saying, is there ever a fight over a spot when you find a prime one? Now, it's first come, first serve, or how does that work? What if you showed up one day and there was someone else on your corner selling where we all expect to see you? How does that work?
And you're right, you did hit it on the nose. It is basically first come, first serve. But among the contributor vendors, you earn your spot.
Okay.
And so you're entitled to that spot if there's another contributor vendor selling there before you get there. But when it comes to anybody else, well then...
Yeah, you kind of have to, I mean, it's not like you own that spot on the public street.
Exactly.
But I was just wondering, I mean, and maybe not even among contributor, but there are spots that are better than others. I'm just telling you. He's got a prime spot. Traffic flow, safety, and all of that. So do you ever have issues where it's either between contributors or maybe other vendors or panhandlers that try to hedge in on a spot, and then you get into some kind of clash between them? I'm sure that happens sometimes.
Oh, sure, that happens sometimes. And with contributor vendors, again, that is also in the Code of Conduct. It is first come, first serve, unless you do what we call map a spot. And mapping a spot right now is 250 papers.
250.
Yeah.
So you're to your point, you're mapped, because I mean, first come, first serve, but let's just say one morning some guy gets up earlier, but we know that's your spot.
Yeah, so if he comes in with his map badge, they leave. And
So you've mapped it, but you have to map, but it takes 250 papers to get to that, meaning that you're known for that.
Yeah.
Because there are people who come to know.
Again, another incentive you earn, another reason people want to take the paper, because then they will buy more papers and then they get to map a great spot. You know, and Mario was telling me a great story this morning. He said he passed up a woman selling over in Metro Center, I think.
Metro Center,
and he was really proud. You can.
How come? What
well, I was driving through Metro Center and there was a young lady out there selling the Contributor newspaper. Had her badge on, big bright badge and everything, her hat, and she was out there, man. Her hand was way up in the air, waving and smiling at everybody. I mean, and I could tell, and I knew what she felt. She had pride. She had hope, because she had a job.
Yeah.
And she appreciated it. She was out there working.
And absolutely. I think
I can relate.
You know, there used to always be newsboys, right? And because the free press is protected by the First Amendment. And then we got vending machines. And all we've really done is replace those vending machines and given people jobs.
Yeah.
That's really what it's all about.
All right, that's right. You haven't seen those vending machines in a long time. Let's go next to Vicki. Hi, Vicki. Good morning, Vicki.
Good morning, Nick. Hey, Kathy. Hey, Mario. I just wanted to say that a lot of these the paper vendors for the Contributor treat it like a business. The Monday, like for myself, the Monday before that new release comes out, I'm looking 2 weeks ahead for the weather. How many papers am I going to sell? Is it bad weather coming through? Am I not going to be able to sell? This kind of thing. So it's treated so much like a business. And because of the Contributor, I'm learning business skills. I'm learning great work ethics, and it's something that I can do without having to explain to a business, I need to go lay down. My back is killing me. You know, you can't do that. But here with the Contributor, you can.
You're your own boss, pretty much. You're your own boss, right?
Exactly.
I mean, yeah, but you have to abide by. Are you pretty much secure in the knowledge of the regulations they have to maintain your safety?
Absolutely, absolutely. We go through a training class when I first started, and that was like 4 or 5 years ago. We went through a training class with Tom, and we know as vendors, if we have any questions about anything, all we have to do is go and ask, and they can clear it up. One example of a safety issue, I actually had to move spots because the place where I was selling that somebody else had sold at for so long on Chute Lane in Hermitage, with the leaves falling from the Hermitage and then the rain, those cars were slipping and sliding. So many people were texting and driving. So that was just an unsafe area for me. Instead of the Contributor coming in and say, you know what, Vicki, this isn't this, I was able to determine that that place was not safe, and I was able to move to another spot where it's now flourishing, and it's a safe area.
Listen, I think that's great. I mean, she self-policed herself and made a decision that, well, hey, if you're out there, you don't want to get hit, right? I mean, so she noticed that as being a danger zone and made sure she didn't.
Exactly, and we love Vicki. And Vicki brings up a really important point. Some of our vendors, this is just a bridge, and they will move on to other positions. And we actually have partnerships. Like we have a partnership with Nashville Downtown Partnership. We can refer vendors who are looking for, they have the city ambassadors and things like that.
So there's a cycle. You see new faces, meaning some people leave and then you get new faces in.
And since they're independent contractors, sometimes they leave and get another job. We don't even know it until they come back and visit us.
Is there a cap on how many you can have at any given time? I mean, let's just say all of a sudden you had an influx. Would you allow 300 people all of a sudden to do it? Or do you guys have in your mind, based on the size of this city, we're going to have to cap it at a certain number?
I think they did cap it, and Tom Wills would be able to answer this better. This is before I came, but I believe at one point they were up close to 400 vendors and they capped it. Okay.
And right now, as you say, vendors about 187, did you say?
No, about 147, I think, active, and I think we had 120 something by the last issue.
Okay, which for a city this size, that sounds very reasonable. I just didn't know if there's a cap if that many. All right, let's go to Ron next. Hello, good morning, Ron.
Hey, good morning, dude.
Hey, good morning. What's on your mind? Go ahead, Ron.
I sell papers. I sell papers, and I love what that broadheaded sells. I don't work for the contributor anymore.
You don't work for them anymore. But okay, so he says he doesn't. Right? I'm guessing he got back on his feet again.
Yeah, we hear. I mean, some of the letters I have gotten from people, especially when, you know, this bill was made public. I mean, they have really been, you know, soul touching to hear how people said, you know, I arrived in town, I was really down on my luck, but there's a lot of pride in most of these people that sell for us. You know, I think most of our vendors are pretty gentle people. Some vendors will be with us for a long time.
Well, like, you plan on selling for a long time? Keeping doing it? I know you have a side lawn business, but you do this?
I plan on, because, like I said, I take this job very serious.
Do you enjoy it?
I enjoy it. I really do. I've made a lot of friends out there.
That is almost as important as the money, as the connections.
It is. And I had one person tell me, he said, well, I feel bad if I don't have any money on me, any cash, that I can't find to buy a paper. And so I just waved, and I said, that means so much. You don't realize how much that means. That smile, that wave means a lot more than the sale of one paper.
See, I'm glad you said that, because I feel that way sometimes too. I'm going by and I just don't have the change, or I can't get over there, but I'll wave. Because, you know, sometimes you see people near the side of the road and they're selling something, you don't have anything, you kind of look down because you feel, I wish I could, but I can't right now. But now with these,
you know, from what I hear from my vendors, it can be, you know, if it's a rainy day and no one's unrolling their windows or buying, you know, they'll come in the office a little glum because they're like, you know, no one even like waves.
Right.
You know?
So the wave makes a difference. I'm glad make a note of that to anyone. Now listen, we'll take a break. When we come back, it's our final segment. More of our conversation if there's some points you want to make, and we have more phone calls as well that we can get through to as well. So we'll be right back after this. Yeah, that's great. I'm glad you said that.